Good afternoon, members and friends of Calvary. Time for our video devotion of the week. Today it comes from the story of the prodigal son, or rather the older brother of the prodigal son. In Luke chapter number 15 and verse number 29, the older brother says this, "And he answering said unto his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment, and thou never gavest me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which hath devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf." So the older brother is upset, and of course, he's chewing the father out for being gracious and kind, forgiving. The older brother is a picture and a type of the Pharisees. But it's interesting, I've seen the first part of his statement, some things over the years, but I never contemplated the second part. In the first part, he says, "Neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment." Of course, that's a lie. We're all sinners, but the self-righteousness in him was equating that he had never sinned, he had never done anything wrong. And he said, and thou never gavest me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. He said, you've never given me anything. But back in verse number 13 or verse number 12, it says he divided unto them his living. So he had already provided for him. He had already given him his inheritance as well. But that last statement, he says, that I might make merry with my friends. The focus of the older brother was on the commandments that he obeyed and the fact that he hadn't sinned, that he hadn't gotten what he thought he deserved, and that he didn't get to enjoy the company of his friends. Omitted in all of this was he had something the younger brother never had or hadn't had, and that was the company and fellowship of the Father. You see, this morning or this afternoon, we are much like the Pharisees when we think life is about making merry with our friends, the gathering of goods, or even the keeping of the commandments and working for him, but it's not about a relationship with the Father. And so the challenge today is just to stop and reiterate, why are we serving? Why are we doing what we're doing? And the truth is, it ought to be to please the Father. It ought to be to have a relationship with the Father. Certainly, we ought to serve. Certainly, we ought to be willing to sacrifice all those things. But the focus of the older brother was on everything but the Father. The focus on the younger brother when he came back was that he would get to be with the Father, and then everything else came. Much like Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things shall be added unto you. The relationship with the Father, that's the main thing.